Good morning, part 2. Good morning and welcome to Oniton Hall, one of the largest estates in the area. My name is Nick and I am one of the guides. I'll give you a brief introduction to the estate while as you are sitting down, and then I will walk around. The estate consists of the house, gardens, parkland, and farm, and it dates back to the 14th century. The original house was replaced in the 17th century, and of course, it has had a large number of owners. Almost all of them have left their mark, generally by adding new rooms like the ballroom and conservatory, or by demolishing others. The farm looks much as it's always done, although the current owner has done a great deal of work to the flower beds. In the 17th century, the estate was owned by a very wealthy man called Sir Edward Downes. His intention was to escape from the world of politics after years as an active politician and to build a new house worthy of his big collection of books, paintings, and sculptures. He broke off contact with his former political allies and hosted meetings of creative and literary people like painters and poets. Usually, for his time, he did not care whether his guests were rich or poor, as long as they had talent. Big houses like Oniton had dozens of servants until the 1920s or 30s, and we have tried to show that their working lives were like, what their working lives were like. Photographs, of course, don't give much of an idea, so instead, as you go round the house, you will see volunteers dressed up as 19th century servants going about their work. They'll explain what they are doing and tell you their recipes or what tools they are using. We've just introduced this feature to replace the audio guide we used to have available. I see there are a number of children there with you today. We have several activities, especially for children, like dressing up in these sorts of clothes that children wore in the past. And as it's a fine day, some of you will probably want to play in the adventure playground. Our latest addition is child-sized tractors that you can drive around the grounds. We'll also be going into the farm that is part of the estate, where there's plenty to do. Most of the buildings date from the 18th century, so you can really step back into the agricultural past. Until recently, the dairy was where milk from the cows was turned into cheese. It's now the place to go for lunch, or afternoon tea, or just a cup of coffee and a slice of homemade cake. The big stone building that dominates the farm is the large barn, and in there is our collection of agricultural tools. These were used in the past to plow the earth, sow seeds, make gates, and much more. There is a small barn also made of stone where you can groom the donkeys and horses to keep their coats clean. They really seem to enjoy having it done, and children love grooming them. The horses no longer live in the stables, which instead is the place to go to buy gifts, books, our own jams and pickles, and clothes and blankets made of wool from our sheep. Outside the shed, which is the only brick building, you can climb into a horse-drawn carriage for a lovely relaxing tour of the park and farm. The carriages are well over 100 years old. And finally, the parkland, which was laid out in the 18th century with a lake and trees that are now well established. You'll see types of cattle and sheep that are hardly ever found on farms these days. We are helping to preserve them to stop their numbers falling further. Okay, well, if you'd like to come with me, Part 2, questions 11 to 20, questions 11 to 14. Choose the correct letter A, B, or C. Oniton Hall. Many past owners made changes to the house. Option B. Sir Edward Downes built Onion Hall because he wanted a place for artists and writers. Option C. Visitors can learn about the work of servants in the past from people in costume. Option C. What is new for children at Onion Hall? At Oniton Hall? Mini tractors. Option B. Questions 15 to 20. Which activity is offered at each of the following locations on the farm? Choose 6 answers from the box and write the correct letter A to H next to questions 15 to 20. Location: on the farm, dairy. Eating and drinking. Option D. Large barn. Seeing old farming equipment. Option C. Small barn. Helping to look after animals. Option G. Stables. Shopping. Option A. Shed. Starting a trip. Option E. Parkland. Seeing rare breeds of animals. Option F.